What's good, Liberators? Fingus here. This is Dx2 Demon Review. Today we are talking about the Destroyer of Worlds, the OG Blue Bomber, the Fury, Shiva, the Hindu creator and destroyer of the world. Along with Vishnu, Shiva is one of the most revered gods in the Hindu faith. There is a belief that he will destroy the world near its end, purifying it during its reconstruction. He uses his destructive force towards demons and bestows blessings on those who worship him. His weapon is a trident of light, and his third eye is said to be able to set the world ablaze. God damn, is that metal? Let's check him out. See what the Destroyer's got behind the wheel. He has got a beast strength. 229, you can pump that up to 249, a godly 269 if you run wild with it. Shiva is a thug to the extreme in that regard. He's also got some decent agility, 160. Slowest among speedsters, but you can make that work, especially if you sin infuse him all the way up to 200. You can put him through his paces on a speedy team, and this boy is 100% fusible. It's going to cost you a bajillion mag, but it can be done. He resists physical, which, as we know, is useless. Drains fire and electricity, coal, weak to ice, so watch out for that one. As for the skills, transferable serial killer plus 10% to damage to skills that damage all or random enemies. So very nice. 10% boost to his Vorpal Blade and Pralaya skill. So can't go wrong with more damage. Could have been Butcher, but it's not. But I digress. For the second skill, the Vorpal Blade, physical damage on all enemies with the power of 140. This skill can shred. It's not the most powerful transferable physical sweep skill, but Vorpal Blade rips. And he doesn't have a built-in physical pierce, but that can be rectified with 4 panels and a gajillion mag. But still, back in the day, I used Shiva a lot. Not in PvP, but in most everything else, because he could just light people up. His strength was unmatched in the long ago. And for his unique skill, the worst skill in the history of skills. But of course, I kid. Perhaps it's only the second or third worst. I don't know. I'll do a top 10 list one day. Pralaya inflicts almighty magic damage on all enemies while removing Repel Fizz and Repel Magic with the power of 100. This damage for this skill is dependent on physical attacks. Wow. Almighty skill using physical attack as its damage dealer, and it removes Repel Fizz and Repel Magic. Wow. What up? Even back then, even when the game first started, this was useless. I cannot express how underwhelming this skill is. If there ever was a skill that needed a just complete teardown and redesign from the ground up, it's Pralaya here. And if you level this thing up, which I strongly recommend you don't, you get 12% extra damage on that power of 100 almighty attack, and a 100% chance of 2 MP recovery when using this skill. So you need 7 MP to pop this thing off, but in the end it'll only cost you 5. But you still need the 7 to pop it off, meaning you can't pop this off turn 1 on a PvP team. So it's just, ugh. Not that you would, but the fact that you can't even do that with it, it's like, come on, yeah, come on. For the archetype skill, got him an Origami for the God Hand, one of the greatest fighting games of all time, and also a pretty beast single target physical skill, inflicts physical damage on a single enemy with a power of 200. Shiva can bust Kiwami bosses down with this, especially if you charge him up. You know, back in the day, use the old Hellbiker charge team. Hellbiker rages everyone up. Everyone charges up in that first wave. You go into the Kiwami boss wave and then just boom, 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 the boss down. I would use Shiva with a charge up, and God hand bosses into oblivion. And with that godly strength stat, he took dudes down. As for the transferables, I only use Shiva these days for physical Demopocalypse on the first wave. So Fizz Boost and Berserker to boost up that Vorpal Blade damage so he can hurt things as much as humanly possible. If you are mad enough to attempt to run him in PvP, which you could, if you have his panel 4, you could run him on a Speedster physical team, and we will see why in a moment. But in that case, you know, the usual Speedster, Fizz Survivor, Fizz Amp, all the good ones. Perhaps Epitome of Aggression, because Vorpal Blade does not come with a critical hit rate built in. It's just raw damage. So get that crit rate up so you're always getting those half-press turns. And that's the way that goes. Brands, War Brands, Divine Brands, physical attack all over him. That's how he rolls. Give him some speed brands to get that good agility or whatever you need him for. Get it done. You know how to use brands. As for the panels, wrapping up our Panel 4 exclusive Club of Demons. Panel 1, plus 50% to all attack damage. So that even applies to the single target God Hand as well as Vorpal Blade, Prayala, any other thing you transfer onto him. 15% more damage. Booyah. Panel 2, plus 15% to physical hit rate and plus 20% to critical hit rate. Crucial for any powerhouse physical demon. It's nice to have that built in. Panel 3 reduces consumed MP of physical attack skills by 2 MP, meaning that you can have him bust out turn 1 with a 5 MP Vorpal Blade. Of course, Prelaya will still cost you 7 because it's got the Almighty tag, but you can get that 5 MP Vorpal Blade, making him PvP turn 1 viable almost. If you get this nifty little panel 4, it finally, after 16 or so Shivas, you get to add Physical Pierce to his kit. And also, the most useless panel, not even just panel 4s, but the most useless thing I think I've ever heard of in my life. Activates the following chain effect when Pralaya is activated, enters a state of might. Wow. 4 panels. 4 panels for a combination of Megiddo and Charge. Thank you, Sega. Just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I'm sorry if this busts up the sound, but I have to slow clap. Just what in God's name were you thinking? I mean, come on. OC Hillel just attacks and auto mites and auto charges just after his attack. Boom, boom, boom every turn. Panel 3 Mara just hell thrusts, charge, hell thrust, charge automatically. And you're going to make me bounce back and forth between that weak-ass Prelaya skill and Vorpal Blade? Come on. What were you... just... The Destroyer deserves better. Patch this shit now. Okay, let's check out his archetypes before we go into maintenance. Oh, gotta be kidding. Well, I will say this. His other archetypes, we talked about origami, and the other one, his elementalist, is probably the only other one worth mentioning, I believe. Gives his weakness to ice a drain, so he can in fact have 3 drains on him if you go elementalist and run him with Demiurge or Rama or something like that. So you could have 3 elements covered with 1 Shiva alone. And that's all I got for today, Liberators. Enjoy the maintenance and don't get captured.